No, I like it as a tool and to kind of highlight the notes in a way that even if I have to do it quickly, a quick commissioner report, I know which ones are the highlights, you know.
So you actually put a document in.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if that was Mother's Day worthy or not, but
Yeah.
I think I'll go birthday.
The people I know that have them like them, but it's getting documents in and out is a couple step process. It's not as easy as like Microsoft. It's the there's the
Gotcha.
Kyle, you running the show?
Yes, sir.
So we're ready to go. Wherever
Perfect.
you are.
We'll start with action items. The first head sheet is 2026 road salt request to advertise.
I move that we approve Public Works request to advertise for sealed bids for the purchase of approximately 330 tons of road salt with bids due June 22nd, 2026 at 4 p.m. and the bid opening June 23rd, 2026 at 10:40 a.m.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any questions or discussion, gentlemen? The road salt, keep, we don't use it all, or does it go bad?
No, it's good.
It's good.
Stored in.
Did we use all of
right
it last
condition.
year?
No, not at all the shops,
Yeah, I didn't think so.
but Roy went through a couple loads, so
Okay,
no, we keep it in a dry condition, so it'll keep.
okay. All right, anything else? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Okay, Kyle. Next up, we have head sheet 2026 winter maintenance sand north and mid county request to advertise.
I move that we approve Public Works request to advertise for sealed bids for the purchase of approximately 3,000 cubic yards of winter maintenance sand for Road District Number 2, Mid County, and 3,000 cubic yards for Road District Number 3, North County, with bids due June 22nd, 2026 at 4 p.m. and the bid opening June 23rd, 2026 at 10:30 a.m.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any questions or discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Perfect. Third head sheet, authorized Parks Director to sign small contract with Arcade Machine for park cleanup.
I move that we authorize the Parks Director to sign a contract related to forestry cleanup activities with Arcade Machine at Monterey County Park, not to exceed $20,000.
Second,
Motion and a second. Any questions or discussion? gentlemen?
is small contract relating to how much money the contract's for?
Yeah, I'm authorized up to $10,000, Robert.
Okay.
This contract is gonna have some moving parts and pieces to it. We're gonna do some salvage, logging in there with the trees that fell down during the windstorm. I'm gonna have to, I'm having my forester work with the mills to get us some pricing. I'm gonna have to do some hauling too, which we'll probably contract with Arcade Machine on that. The scope could change a little bit. The type of work could change a little bit. It would just be easier if I could manage this contract without having to come back up here every week, so. And it was planned too, right? We knew we were gonna have to do this cleanup after the timber sale, so.
Any other questions? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Okay, the last head sheet we have 2026 courthouse roof membrane replacement request to advertise.
I move that we approve Public Works request to advertise for sealed bids for the 2026 courthouse roof membrane replacement with bids due June 2nd, 2026 at 9:30 a.m. and the bid opening June 2nd, 2026 at 10:45 a.m.
Second.
A motion and a second. Questions or discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Thank you, Ben.
Yeah. All right, you want to start with solid waste? Sure.
Go ahead, Amanda.
So in an effort to draw some interest in our swag, Christy found these new slides that are a little bit better and probably more up to date from what we have been using in the past as far as trying to get interest. We do have something on our website that says that people would like to volunteer, but we're trying to get people to get more involved in this and become more active. So we're trying to put this out. We need volunteers, an application for people to actually sign up. So we can get an active SWAC going again. I know they put out some feelers and we've had a couple people express interest, but we haven't had more than about 5 people, I'm guessing. I know our commercial hauler and his secretary expressed interest in still participating, and Mr. Feldman expressed interest, but other than that, I don't have much more than that.
Yeah, man, once we get an idea of the statutory requirements as far as districts and whatnot, and maybe we do have that idea, I'm sure I can drum up a couple of people besides those you mentioned.
That would be great, especially if we could get some representation from the north end of the county. We've really not had much of those people participate, so it would be great if they would like to participate in this.
As long as I'm able to answer their questions as far as eligibility and the requirements of the position. I have a couple of, and even the former owner of the disposal place up there, I think he might do it.
So Eugene used to be on it, and that's what I asked her if she was interested in participating, and she said no in the past when they were retiring,
Right.
But maybe they've since changed their mind. I'm not sure.
Well, yeah, I think being retired now, they might have more time. So,
Sure.
also are there bylaws?
There are bylaws, so I can send those to you for
That'd be
you guys
great.
to review those.
Yeah. Well, we'll just keep banging away at it, and yeah, I'll reach out to some people.
Sure.
And is there a meet schedule? We
usually do, we found that people didn't want to do it often. It tied up too much of their time. So we found when we were having them, the best luck was spring and fall. It's summer.
Okay.
People are very busy in the summer with kids and, just activities. But spring and fall seems to catch our snowbirds before they leave for the year and after they come back. So if we do like a late spring and then fall before people leave for the year, that's always been our best luck, but really we can be open to anything.
Okay. So proposal is 2 meetings a year. Looks like 9 seats available.
We do have to, we have 9 voting members. We need 6 to form a quorum if anything's going to get discussed or decided upon.
Okay. But you feel like you might have 4 or 5 lined up?
I feel like there's, like I said, if Lugene and her husband would like to be a part of it, that's an extra added to the 5 because they were part of the voting members before.
Okay.
But definitely, we've got 3 lined up for sure.
Okay. See what I can do.
Okay.
And you provided us with those, I can get a copy of these brochures from Crystal and I'll print some off just to hand people. That'd be great.
Okay.
The bylaws are old. Do you want them updated?
Well, let's start with the old ones, but
Is it-
yes, we'll probably update them.
Is it the SWAC that updates them or is it?
Well, it probably is. Yeah,
Okay,
yeah. That would be one of the first things that they would have to
Okay.
do, but that's a place to start.
okay.
And that's all that I have.
All right. Oh, sorry.
No, you're good. Perfect. Do you want to go next? Or do you want me to talk about the Eskridge?
Go ahead.
So engineering and construction, we just have Eskbridge funding application support. So basically, what's happened is we've kind of switched gears on this a little bit. We went from Eskbridge replacement and now we've requested new cost estimates for the more intensive rehab for Uskbridge and the pedestrian bridge since that money was reacquired. So we've asked Susan to put together a scope and she got that scope back to us and it came back at 14,000 to get those cost estimates put together.
$14,000?
Yes,
Sorry.
to put the cost estimate together for both of those.
Okay.
We already gave her the go ahead because Julia needed numbers fast. And
Yes.
we were hoping basically that we could use money that was already set aside for the Usk Bridge replacement. There was like a pot of 40,000 to pull that money from, basically for accounting reasons.
By the way, that was great decision making. Good, good. One commissioner, yes.
So we have leftover money from their original work order with Susan Kovich to do that work. But what we were looking for is that what we were getting reimbursed for that money, if we could still use that money to get reimbursed. Or is that,
I'm sorry, reimbursed from where?
we get reimbursed from the commissioners for the work that was previously being done on
We
the Usk Bridge.
Pledged LATCF dollars to the project, is that? And then there was sort of a pot there and
It could
that
stop.
is not exhausted.
Right.
So, yeah, no change then,
Okay.
right?
Okay, perfect. All right.
I would love, and Christie, I would love, your reflections, observations on the general strategic intent of this new plan and your observations on the direction which involves a significant change from where we were until at least I heard directly from Congressman Baumgartner that you're not getting the 80 million. With the introduction of Julia saying a significant infusion from Bureau of Indian Affairs Bridge Fund. Along with, I mean, there's one more data point, the state saying, okay, we'll repurpose the 13.5 million for the pedestrian bicycle bridge. There's been a lot of moving parts. Is this going in a direction that can allow these parts to merge into we're actually gonna get something done?
I believe so. I think we're heading in the right direction. It comes down to a lot if they can get funding. The Bureau of Indian Affairs can get funding, excess funding for this. But the plan of now is to use this 13.5 million that is given back to us at this point. We're gonna obligate that pretty quick for design funds. I'm talking to WashDOT currently about that. And then with the intent of getting more funds to be able to push the pedestrian project forward and then hopefully the rehab project if they're able to find funds for that.
I think that requirement from the Bureau of Indian Affairs money required that road be designated a reservation or tribal access road, if I remember right.
Yeah.
Can you tell us some pros and cons of that? Are there any cons to that?
No cons to that. So we talked about it a little bit at our meeting with them this last week. Basically, it's just a designation that any road within 5 miles of tribal land that outreaches 5 miles can be designated as that. And it's just an extra designation that helps with funding for roads, but
Okay.
it doesn't take
No downside to
anything,
it.
doesn't take anything away from the county in
Okay.
regards to the
Very
road.
good.
And it's the conversation with the Kalispell tribe either anticipating or plan to anticipate sort of intervening before we reach a collision point like we reached 4 years ago or 3 years ago with maintenance and dealings. Is that on the table?
Yeah, so we're in current discussion with them. Yeah, we have pretty regular meetings set up with the tribe now. Me and Carol went to this last one. We plan on continuing that conversation with them.
Okay.
Done. All right, that is all for Usk Bridge. So the last one is Mike's surplus real estate issue.
Just for the record, that shouldn't be under Parks and Recreation, but it's okay,
Okay.
I just want you to know that
Got
it's
it.
not parks related, so.
Thank you, Christie.
So when Craig switched gears on my job description a couple years ago, right, he added that in there that, besides timber management, parks director, that, is surplus property disposal. And when I say property, I mean real estate, right? So we're working out of a pretty outdated document, but nothing changes within that document very much, right? And that's the lands book that we have. So I wanted to get the ball moving forward on this, right? And I discussed a little bit with Commissioner Smiley about implementing this process, right? And so I made the decision to put together a little 4-parcel package for 2026. Present it to the board for your guys' consideration, and then give you a week or two to think about it, and then we'll come back around to it and make a decision if we want to try to surplus a few of these parcels off as a jumping in point for maybe a greater plan to get some of these off the books and back into the tax rolls.
Yeah, I think a good way to describe this is a trial run
Mhm.
and a bundle trial run to see how the process works.
Yeah.
Mike and I talked about it, and we feel like it'd be more efficient to do a bundle. And, rather than try to piecemeal these, so go ahead.
And yeah, and the getting feet wet part of this is, I'm not really sure where I stand. I was almost led to believe that this was a process that Nicole Dice would handle. Not necessarily the case, right? Nicole would take care of the parts and pieces of it, but ultimately it's the board's decision on whether they want to do this. And then we'll get to there's a checklist that I would be working through in conjunction with the assessor, with the prosecuting attorney, with the treasurer to make this happen. So we identified 4 parcels that were in the land management handbook. 2 of those were identified in there as surplus parcels, right? Which is Deer Valley 3.7 and Arthur's Boulevard 15. One of them was identified as a mineral parcel, and one of them was identified in their classification as other, which is another piece on Deer Valley. Go ahead, Kyle. So I spoke about the checklist. This is what Nicole was able to provide me with. These are the steps that I would need to follow in order to run this process through. So in the front end of that, there's some discussions that need to be had with the treasurer and the tax assessor also to get the ball rolling. But this is my checklist that I would be working off of. And I believe was it Demlo? Was she the treasurer? Charlotte, yeah, she went through, and I think that there was one point where the board actually did do a couple parcels back in maybe 2010, 2012 era. So we're just following that process that she lined out. Go ahead, Kyle. So the Deer Valley 3.7 acre parcel, and the picture on the right-hand side is what came from this lands management handbook here, right here. And then the picture on the left-hand side is from the tax assessor's page. This little parcel lies directly across the street from the city of Newport's water tank that's up in the Deer Valley Canyon. Yeah. Honestly, I don't know what it ever could be used for. It could maybe be used for, residential or maybe an RV type lot. Maybe one of the adjoining landowners purchases it and builds a shop on it. Best that I can come with, it used to be a borrow pit. Could that have been for the construction of Deer Valley Road down through the canyon? That's very possible. I did talk to Roy Anderson about this. Roy's real familiar with it. Roy, is there any future foreseeable use with this piece of property for anything to do with mining? And Roy says no on this one. I honestly don't know what the county could do with that would be beneficial to us at this point. So I would recommend that this would be one of the parcels we would consider in that package that we're gonna put together. Yeah, Kyle, go ahead and next for me.
Yep.
Deer Valley, 4.5 acres. So where does this lie? This is about a mile and a half, 2 miles to the east of Highway 211. The parcel that lies directly to the north of it is Sherman's farm out there on Deer Valley Road, right? This parcel, the road department actually took a look at that some years back, maybe do some mining of sand on it. We do not own the mineral rights to this property.
It makes it up.
Those were retained by one of the big oil companies that had possession of it somewhere along the lines. Possible residential use, possible RV use. We did use that as a waste site during the construction of one of the phases of Deer Valley Road to just get rid of some decomposed granite in there. So kind of an odd shaped little parcel. We put in a cutting permit for it here a couple of years ago. Bronkhorst was gonna do the logging, but just through timing, he wasn't able to do that sale for us. So if we're still in possession of it, when Bronkhorst goes to do Sherman's timber sale out there, then he'll be able to come back in and do that harvest on that little parcel. Okay, Kyle, next one. Tweedy Road, this is a 4.1 acre parcel. We used it as a surface mine. It has not been touched since I've been here. I think I'm probably the only one that's put boots on that ground for 7 years. It's not mineable anymore because of the depth that it's at and the slopes. It's kind of a long, narrow piece. So we're getting pretty thin down at the bottom of it. Again, possible RV use or residential use. It's zoned to NR20. So the NR20 pieces, and we're hoping through ComDev when they do their update that will change. And that will just, those NR pieces will just actually go to the R5s or whatever, but NR20 is natural resource 20. And if you'll remember when we did the land swap to gain the access to Wolford Park, that pit was an NR20 piece also. You can construct on an NR20.
Yep.
Right? You can build a house.
Right.
You can run a business.
Right.
But your business has to be natural resource related business.
Right.
Or recreational related, right?
Right.
So you probably couldn't open up a donut shop on that if you wanted to, but if you wanted to do like a, like maybe a fishing guide service or a horse rental or something like that.
It's residential. You can build one residence there. Easy enough.
Yep. So, that would be I think a pretty lucrative piece to put back on the rolls, given its location. It's really, really nice out there. And there's a lot of high density of snowbirds out there with Gary's plat that he has. So I could see that parcel being incorporated into something like that. Go ahead, Kyle, for the last one. Hit it again. Did I get that wrong? Okay, well anyways, Arthur's Boulevard, 15 acres. That used to be our Lindahl pit. Which is up on LeClaire Road North, about milepost 20, 21, right around in there. Thank you, Brian. So that's all been reclaimed, right? And it's off the books as a surface mine. It sits in a great big subdivision up there.
Wonderful residential area.
You can see the current use of it, even though it's posted no trespassing, is basically an ORV park. There's a lot of motorcycle and four-wheeler riding that goes on in that one. And I think again, that would be a pretty lucrative lot, especially if you were a developer, because that's zoned to NR20. Just ignore that pictures they're on there, but zoned to NR20, but hopefully that'll change. That zoning will change when the comp plan changes in if NR 20 were to go away, that would probably be zoned R5. So,
Yes.
you know, a developer could potentially make 3 lots out of that. Now, I explored that on our end. I had a little bit of a discussion on that, but, you know, here's the deal. I don't know if we want to be in the business of subdividing property. And then, you know, being able to sell that property, we'll still have to surplus it.
Right.
You know, so the cost of development, the cost to break that into 3 5-acre parcels would be huge. And the return on that might not be there for us, so.
There's an element of risk there,
Yeah,
you know, any one of us in the private sector, we might do that, but as a county, yeah.
and I don't think we need, I mean, this is just my opinion, strictly my opinion, not yours. But, you know, we have people in this county that do subdivide, they are
Right.
developers, right? And we want to be in competition with them. I don't, you know, as a county.
They're doing what they're doing because they figured out how to do what they do.
Right.
We don't need to reinvent
I
the wheel.
Exactly.
I agree, bro. Yeah.
Exactly. So go ahead, Kyle. So my ask is, you know, does the board want to embark on the journey of returning some of these no foreseeable use properties back into the tax rolls? We feel that this package would be a good starting to jumping in point for this process as we move forward, right? Some considerations that I had, and this was with Jesse, we had discussed this. So some of these parcels that were used for mining, does it make sense to reinvest funding back into mining parcels for the road department when we do surplus these off? I don't know how much revenue is going to be generated in the form of an auction. Probably not enough to go buy another parcel with, but that was a question that was asked. Kind of goes back around to the big picture, you know, is the road department mining even cost effective anymore at this point with the cost of mobilization and fuel? Or are we better off just to purchase aggregate when we need it from local vendors?
Have you,
And then the junior taxing districts, right? For instance, we have the fire department that would like to construct a new station on one of our existing timber parcels. So, you know, should I be reaching out to cemetery districts? Should I reach out to fire departments with these before I move forward with them? Just some considerations.
Yeah, it's a great question. And the answer to the last question you asked is yes, you should reach out. But first, I would consider, especially with the first parcel. And Kyle, can you go back to the picture of the one right across from the reservoir?
Deer Valley ones.
Deer Valley one.
Deer Valley 3-7, keep it right back, yeah.
I mean, the first question is really, is there a county use for something like that long term that we should, especially for this parcel, which is such a great location, it's like, wonder if there's something that
That was my thought as well, Robert. I feel like staging area at the top of Water Tower Hill. I mean, even just for, I don't know. I mean, it's hard to imagine a lot, but
So through my lens that I looked at it was Parks and Rec, right? Not for Parks and Rec,
sure.
and road department, and not for road department. I
Okay.
mean, we have road right away there. We're not gonna tighten that curve up anymore, and we can't mine that out anymore.
bad place for a business to have egress and ingress on that corner. I mean, you can see a residents going in there, 1 or 2, but if you have something that's got a lot of traffic, bad place.
If I pictured anything with this, it would be the parcel to the south of, you know, would be bidding on it and
Right.
expanding the footprint of their property. That, I mean, that was the way I looked at it, but no, I would tend to agree with you.
The other couple of things I'll add to those considerations, part of that, the process, identifies and acknowledges that we need to go through that when we have a surplus hearing and we advertise for surplus. Really, the purpose of that is for somebody like a junior district or a cemetery district to come forward and say, hey, I'd like this property. It meets a public benefit. So I think that would be the time that we would reach out. If you have some, you need to show up and you need to put your comments on the record.
Right.
And really my experience with those is if there is somebody that shows up and says, we think this meets a public benefit, well, you're dead in the water then. You know, because then you would have to argue that they're wrong.
Right.
And I suspect if you did this and you reach out, nobody's gonna show up and say, but, you know, and the other thing I would add, this is 2012. And this group went through and analyzed every parcel that Andre County owns, and we still have these parcels. And they recommended that these were surplus at that time. What gives?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, generally green light. I've got, I think some questions on your observations there. Well, let's start. Where do the dollars go when we
Yep.
sell surplus parcels? Is that all general fund? Or is there any delineation between the type of parcel?
Well, John, I'm learning right along with you on this. You know, we have to evaluate and see if it was tax title.
Right.
That money has to go back to those junior taxing districts. Good question, probably for Dolly. You know, where did the money come from to purchase them in the first place? Right? And then-
Dolly has prepared a memo on that for tax title. If we go back and look, tax title property, it has to go back and pay whatever was owed and whatever the lien was. And first to those senior districts. And, you know, they would look at who got what. Generally, not very much money. And so your value now, we've owned these so long, the value is gonna be in excess of whatever that is. Remember, we looked at that on the parcel up on Cedar Creek, for the tax title parcel. So we do have a memo, you guys can look at that, you probably still have it.
Okay, but not all of the dollars are going to one place, and certainly not all of the dollars are going straight into the general fund. There are potentially,
Yeah, this is where I'm gonna learn right
Right.
with you on this, you know,
Yeah.
would beg the question like Jesse had. He's like, well, you know, these are surface mines. Sure, road department probably purchased the properties. I mean, when you go back and look at the ownership, it just shows Andre County
Yeah.
owns it. But you know, could some of this money get funneled back toward roads to go back to parcels for surface mining?
yeah, well, and that's a different question. I mean, that is, so generally it's general fund. I mean, Public Works doesn't own any parcels.
County.
Public Works is used parcels
Right.
that the county owns, right? And so it's like, if you just had a one size fits all rule, it goes into the general fund and then we decide, you know, if those dollars go back into Public Works or where those go. And so all that par for the course. Your observation about should we be replacing some of these surface mines is a good observation. You want to get that question answered. And so like the only way you get it answered is to find out what the cost is to make your own gravel pile anymore, you know, which is kind of like what you're saying, but I feel like we have to have that answer because it could be, it's significantly cheaper to go find just a nothing parcel that's loaded up with, you know, with busted up granite and off we go. We've certainly done crushes in the not too distant past, so we're not that far out of,
Right.
you know, out of surface mining ourselves. I feel like we'd want that answer one way or the other. It's easy to say, okay, now we're just going to buy our gravel from whoever, but then one day they're probably already figuring out they're going to charge whatever they want for that. And we're at their mercy, and this vision you had, you know, hey, let's have a little bit of foresight and keep some land for this. Too late.
The key point there is location.
Sure.
Exactly.
And the issue there is the cost of haul. And on the south end of the county, I think especially since this was created, there's a lot more supply now than there has been in the past. In the past, it was necessary for the county to own these because there was less supply available. If you wanted it, you had to make it. And you wanted it in the right place, you had to make it. there's a lot more supply in the south end of the county now.
Hmm.
I would say, and I talked to Jesse at length about this before, mid-county and some other places, you can see where you could save a lot of haul costs if you had the right stuff in the right place.
Yeah,
A little bit of that is strategic, a little bit of risk in that,
Right.
and a little bit, oh, we might sit on this a long time before we get paid back.
sure.
But it is something we need to think about it, for sure.
I mean, as a security, I'm just as a backstop, doesn't mean we're gonna go in there and start mining it, but it's
Right.
like, I would buy that, and well, you guys could do the math on that inside of a couple of hours, say, okay, listen, we've got Versatile, or we've got these mines around the county. Worst case scenario, those sold off, out of business, whatever else, what do we have to protect the taxpayers of this county between Cusick and the Canadian border? Because we'll always be able to get gravel down here.
Well, and
For the
as
rest
we
of
get
our
up-
natural lives,
As
we'll
you
be
get
able to
further
get.
up north, it's
Yeah.
the same thing.
Yeah.
It's mid-county, there's some, a band in there.
Yeah.
But you get up north, you got Maupins, you got Dawson's, and you
Okay.
got Versatile, and you got Corey's up there.
The handful,
Yeah.
which is,
And
again,
the haul
probably more
costs.
than we
And then
did.
again, once you start going 30 miles, you know.
Yeah,
Well, and I've talked to Jared about this too, right? Cause we have a geology guy in our office.
Right.
It's just the fact of getting out there and taking a look, we got mid-county just sits right down below Kings Lake Pit, and
Right.
right down below Winkler's Pit. The
Right.
county's got several hundred acres, sits right there in
Right.
Kings Lake.
It's not like
Yeah.
we're short of land.
Yeah,
I would just say, in my opinion, the value of land in Ponderay County versus when these were bought makes that equation a high bar to make it worthwhile to own parcels for a possible future use.
well, that's a viable answer too, though,
Yeah.
that we're pretty confident we have parcels that could be surface mined.
mhm.
And so the answer is, don't bother with the math, we're there. We've got enough in stock, and so you'd have to put boots on the ground
Yeah.
or a shovel in the dirt, whatever it is.
Here's another question too, and I'm not privy to this. What do you see happening when we do the tax foreclosure sales and we auction these parcels off? The valuation of them. I mean, are we talking like pennies on the dollar? Is that how that turns out? From what you've seen?
They're gonna be appraised, aren't they? They're gonna be appraised, I mean, it's just,
Well,
I think ultimately it just depends on who shows up to bid, but I would certainly hope not.
we'll have a minimum bid set, and that's all part of this learning
Yeah.
process. But like I see, the Deer Valley piece, the 3.7 just up here out of Newport. I mean, that
Mike, was
$175,000 for
Right.
2.5 acres on the river.
right.
Do you see $10,000 out of that parcel that's on Deer Valley Road? I don't know when you go to. an
Mike,
auction
I
format.
think you will be shocked at the value. I would look into whether we can list these with a realtor. In my mind, there's a process where we can do that, where we can have a realtor do this and market them. I think that would pay us dividends to do that rather than an auction. Either way, I feel like you're gonna be shocked at the value. That's just my opinion. And even if you have an auction, if it's properly advertised and properly noticed, I think we'll see. But that's where I said, let's do this as a bundle and let's see how it goes. Remember, guys, we got 250 parcels in the county. Oh,
Yeah, and this stuff I've been here 27 years, almost 28 years. This stuff's been sitting here. So if it takes a couple years to do the process, I don't think we're out anything on
Yeah.
it. The value of land is not going this way.
right. Yeah,
You
and
know.
fortunately for us, we don't have to pay public. Or it would have happened a long time.
No, but there's a lot of missed revenue in that book.
Yes,
There's a lot of lost revenue in that
for
book.
sure.
I
So
Yeah,
float,
yeah,
float,
get started.
float it around for a week or two, and maybe after maybe after Memorial Day weekend, that next session or two, we'll come back and firm up on it. Does that sound?
It does, and I agree with Brian. We don't have to think of everything. Nice to be, nice to have your head on a swivel and kind of try to anticipate all these questions. But in some regard, that is what the public comment period is for, and we'll hear it. We'll hear it at some point.
I plan on walking with Jared on this, right? as I go through this process, keeping him informed, and so he's trained up on doing it, so there's succession planning that'll come with it also.
And, we'll have a mechanism whereby immediate landowners in close proximity will all be notified. Yeah, I mean, say everybody within a mile or a mile. whatever.
Right.
Certainly the adjacent ones are always gonna be potential buyers,
Right.
you know, and maybe the highest
Well, I
bidder.
thought of that for sure on two of those,
Yeah.
you know, the Shermans and this fella up here, but I noticed his place is for sale too. He's got a
Yeah.
for sale sign.
While we're talking about it, you guys, I am going to propose 2 other parcels that we shop those around for a land swap. The one up that I've mentioned several times at Cedar Creek,
Mhm.
that we've had some interest in somebody buying. And then the west side of the Flying Goose parcel, that portion of it that lies on the west side of LeClaire, that is waterfront and wetland. And to me, both of those have conservation value. And they're very unique, and that's about the only value they have is conservation. And the highest and best use of both of those parcels would be conservation. But I don't think it behooves Ponderay County to own conservation land. I don't think that's the business we're in. So I'm gonna keep working on possibly doing some kind of land swap, something with those.
Yeah, good plan. Yeah, that's the one that Shane cruised for us, the west side of the Flying Goose parcel, so. And then, just so you know, he completed the forestry management plan for that parcel, and so I'm going through reviewing it, Brian's reviewing it. I probably have some comments back to him, but so far it's looking like a home run on that piece, so. It's another thing that'll be coming forward to the board here in a couple weeks.
Okay,
Thank you.
thanks, Mike.
Thank you. That's all we have.
Okay, thank you, gentlemen.
What time is it?
10 o'clock.
Mike, you thinking about, you talked a little bit about succession planning and so it's part of it. That's not inherently the same as creating an SOP for this. Nobody left that for you from
Right.
2012, but the book is handy. And no mistake about it, but there needs to be someone who does this as part of their job description in the county in perpetuity. So some guardrails around that, but you've got your checklist already, you know,
Yeah.
run that by
I'll
Dolly or Tristan and.
This stuff's a piece of cake, John. So you got
Oh.
Chat GPT now? I mean, I'm serious, right? You just put your procedure, you just dump it in there, it'll lay the plan out for you.
Add to that, I think John's right on it there. The other thing is maybe we want to look at some guardrails and SOPs on the revenue side of it. And how the commissioners or how the departments handle the revenue and what the process is for spending it. Cause I could see this working well and all of a sudden somebody saying, hey, I want to sell this and buy this. You know, and there needs to be a process for that and some checks and balances on that part of it.
In a committee.
Yeah, well, I don't know.
Yeah, and the flip side to the coin of thank you very much for your dedication and loyalty to Ponderay County. Delighted to hear of your long-term service here. And the flip side to that is scared to death that there's too much institutional memory in one person's head that when it leaves, no matter how much documentation is, the fine points of what went into that get lost.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you've got, like, honest to goodness, you know, he's learning at an epidemic level,
Okay.
right? Jared too, you know, Jared's a sponge. The guy's a sponge, he's diving in, you know what I mean? So
Good to know.
we're trying to pass as much of this on as we can and build value long-term, you know, so
Good.
that's my effort at least.
Okay.
All right, thank you guys.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Go absorb some more knowledge.
Yes.
I'm gonna get my fill of it here in 30
Yeah.
30 minutes, trust me. Go ahead. Kyle. Back of my chair, what do you got?
Thanks, Kyle.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you, Kyle.
Good job, Mike.
Thank you.
Stephanie?
Bernie.
We have the bid opening at 10:30. We have 7 bids, which is great to have.
Yeah.
Mentioned that only one went through the non-mandatory walkthrough last week. But when I talked to Ben this morning, he said many more were calling him, so after he asked some questions. So 7.
One from Yakima.
I lost it from 2009 on this back.
Well, I see a little discrepancy because this says the second attachment said amended July 9th, 2009,
Right?
but it's signed by the commissioners on November.
Oh, 2010.
And the second attachment looks to be the exact same.
As the first.
Yeah, so this is what we would folder this. Look at that.
It says it's amended, but it wasn't really.
I didn't see any differences. One thing that I noted would be different than your other board committees would be the term of service, where you 3 years is great, but it says the term of a member starts on the day that the member is appointed. Like, we typically have terms ending in December. That way, when we do the advertising, we can list all the different commissions that the terms are ending. But if you have somebody resign or
Right.
died or discharged, you're gonna have terms all throughout the year.
Odd terms, yeah. No, you're right. That could be changed.
And 9 members is a large group.
It is a large group, and I wonder if that's statutorily required.
That's why I wanted to see the bylaws and statute to see if there was any.
Right, if we could knock that down to like 5, be much easier lift,
We need 3 for a quorum.
right?
And typically, your clerk does the advertising for these committees.
Mhm.
I send out the information, I get the applications, and then I schedule the interviews with the commissioners. You would appoint them.
Right, right.
So I'll try and coordinate that with Amanda, that I get the information from her. Okay. That makes sense. Yeah, okay, yeah. There's an email from Judge Robin now.
I have to take a time out to bang my head against the wall over the third paragraph that.
There we go.
You need some time, no,
Okay.
I haven't looked at it yet.
Do you feel like you got sufficient clarity around avoiding this landmine on who's taking care of the bridge, or maybe specifically the pedestrian bridge after the fact?
I got sufficient clarity at this point in time.
Okay.
As we move forward, I will want significantly greater clarity and focus and affirmative statements from both the Ponderay County Public Works Department and the Kalispell Fire.
Do you feel like the Kalispell tribe knows the conversation is coming? I don't wanna lose Julia or somebody else, like, we still have to iron this out, and it's not gonna be an easy
Yes,
conversation.
and the reason the answer is yes is because I looked Julie Whitford and Tella Hamilton in the faces and said, we are not gonna have a repeat of 2023 when it blew up all over everybody. That broke my heart. The next time would break my spirit. And they said, we'll talk about it and we'll make sure the tribal council weighs in. And if there is gonna be we can't get there, we'll know that sooner rather than
Right.
later. And I've had that conversation with Carol Richardson also.
Okay.
Calling a very memo once for us, was full on the surplusing of property. Trying to find it. It had to do when, Ryder was trading that. I did this for me too, I've seen that. I would think.
About this possible county land swap. On land exchange. County land exchange.
It should be, yeah.
This was like Newport specifically,
Yeah,
but I have been asked what the process is for an exchange.
an exchange, that would be helpful.
Or that.
Maybe it's not exactly what I was looking for, but. I could be nice meeting too. That's a little bit different than the actual sale.
And then this is actually Ryder's question to her, so I'll forward that whole thing. This is from 22.
Okay,
You think there's something more recent than that?
I would have been about right.
Did you hear back from Shane about the 115 today?
Yes.
Oh,
And also today he accepted the change of date from today to tomorrow. Or to next week, because remember.
from last week to next week. You were close. But it's okay.
Yes, he accepted that last night. Hello, Mike.
Hi. Can I huddle on this with you guys before we do this, just to explain to you what I'm looking at on these?
Parking lot,
Yeah.
if it's not necessary for others to be hearing that you're.
No, it's not. I just like the board to know what this is gonna look like. So there's two bid sheets. There's bid sheet 1 and bid sheet 2. Bid sheet 1 is for your project.
Item one.
That rebuild 27,500 feet and to eliminate street walk and pave it back. The second bid sheet is for what we called item C, which is an alternate bid, and that's for the additional parking lot. Then we had two different options. We had build the parking lot, no pavement, build the parking lot with pavement. So
Yeah.
we'll do both of those bid forms. Well, on the second bid form, I put a line for subtotal. I probably shouldn't have done that because we just want to see the number.
Yeah.
So I'm just gonna overlook that. And then I'll just tell you, C1 is this much, C2 is this much.
So that's not necessarily what we have. framed
This
up.
is me.
That's you. Okay.
So
Yeah.
item C, I thought was constructing the 10,000 square feet.
Construct it with no pavement or construct it with pavement.
There were two options under that.
Yeah. Here's where I think it might go south. And this is no big deal. I think some people might take a look at that, even though in our bid instructions, it was very clear how we wanted it. I think they might look at it and go, here's the cost to build the parking lot with the gravel, this, that. And then here's the cost to put the pavement on top of it. Rather than construct it with pavement, construct it without pavement. We'll know when we see the number.
Right.
But we were very clear in.
Right. I just, the cost with the payment is inclusive of everything.
Yeah, so you build the parking lot, no pavement, you build the parking lot with pavement.
Yeah.
So those are the three numbers that you'll see.
Okay.
You'll see the bid sheet or bid form number 1 with the total cost to do what we want done. And then the second bid sheet will be construct the parking lot without, construct the parking lot with. And then I'll ask you for us to be able to take these down and do our magic with it. And work up, for our conversation this afternoon at 3:15. Okay. Does that make sense?
I do know there was confusion with one of your bidders on that second sheet where you had the total.
I'm just gonna overlook that. I'm just gonna read what the
I
extension
showed it
is.
to you and I said, no, they're not looking for a total of that. They're looking for this item.
Yeah. I got through. I was drowning trying to put this one together.
Yeah,
And the other 4 I was working on too.
and this
So,
one was put through pretty quick.
yeah. There's always the number there for unsuitable excavation. And we anticipate that going to happen. But we didn't know at what level until we start working. So that's why we asked for that bid number in there. So we have a set price when that unsuitable X comes up, when it rears its head. And we had a little bit of that on the employee parking lot, not a ton of it, but we had it, but Ben seems to think as we move toward the front of the building, that we'll probably be into unsuitable X a little bit more there. It's such an unknown right now, so.
I don't like the expression things can go south because we live so far north. The only direction really we can go from here.
It's only 45 minutes to me.
Things can go east. I mean, things
They
can
make you right.
Yep.
Thanks for your work on this.
be 7 minutes, that's a win already.
Yeah.
Yes. Olga was using her stamp, and so you'll see on some of these that she accidentally had May 21st. And so I initialed all the ones where she just stamped the wrong date.
Yeah, it's all good.
Right.
Perfect.
Like rereading the memos on, that Jolly had prepared about tax title land. He had some prepared some. I'll let you know about it.
And for those, to me.
Yeah.
Okay.
Seven altogether.
7, that's good.
Good legwork trying to round up some more. This fucking Tevin Field one.
Well, another thing that you guys will probably see out of this. Some of these, like, Versatile, they're a construction contractor, so they're gonna have to buy the asphalt from an asphalt plant. And then others like Interstate, they are the asphalt production company and construction.
Right.
So we could be a little,
So someone
All
that
over
has
the
to
place.
purchase the pavement will probably have to bid higher because they're.
Oh, these are double. Some of them are double.
Well, there you go.
Good, how are you doing?
another
Who are you with?
Woods crashing.
Another one too is the cemetery district plans on doing a project. They have a paving bid coming up too, so these projects are right next to each other and some of these contractors knew
That'll be fine.
that was gonna come up. Some
That's
didn't
seven bids
probably.
today.
Oh, wow. Cool, thank you.
I'll open you read them.
Beautiful.
I'll turn this on once. Couple minutes before.
I think we can just share right here.
Yeah.
So your name and your position at the county, please. And then will you do a little bit of the description of the different items?
Time came in late.
No.
Some of them almost did, huh?
I seen your truck park over there at 9:35. I was like, man, I hope he didn't just pull up.
No, I made it at 9:27.
Oh,
I
good.
think that was it.
I was flying to get here.
You didn't speed on Highway 2, did you?
No, I didn't.
Of course not. Well, then
Nobody caught me, so. it didn't happen.
one slowing traffic down.
Yeah.
Everybody's speeds. Yeah, I feel like these could be turned in yesterday. There's no reason to wait till the last second.
My deal.
Not your deal.
My deal. I just put in the ask.
They're all back.
Oh, they will be, don't worry.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I'm confident in it.
I'm not so confident.
Thanks for coming in. Sign this quick forward with our. Name and what organization are you with?
Two goddamn turned in.
Oh, great.
They asked for the meeting ID number. The old guys, they just hang around on
Mhm.
30. Kids are like, oh, we'll take the meeting ID number.
Mhm.
Karen Peterson?
Correct.
Okay. We have 7 bids today.
It's coming. Yeah. Maybe I'll ask one. Yeah. Sometimes, because you're the winner doesn't mean it. It's not that big of a help.
Good. Doesn't matter.
I don't know. I don't. And I got the same on that. There are. That's just the other one. I do that, yeah. Cool. So, April, guys, all full swing now. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, let's do. Truck drivers, I need some truck drivers, if you can come up with, if you have any extras. Then, I look forward to it. And we're hiring trucks, we have trucks hired everywhere, and can't find any more. There's trucks sitting, but everybody you talk to says the same thing, oh, I don't have any drivers.
Yeah, truck stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
For you,
Give
can you give that to Ben, is he writing this down individually?
Yeah.
I have it written out there.
Make a sign sheet of under the new.
Oh, it's okay, I was doing my own, but yeah.
Sit down at the front of it. People, they walk. I get it.
It's not too intimidating. One isn't on this, and these are the other two options.
Yeah, this year. I was doing something for those trucks, and so you barely have. Oh, sorry.
Bid sheet two, bid sheet one. That's what I'll say.
Wow.
Thanks.
That was a jack that was
One being.
Bid sheet number two, item one, item two.
but I mean, we're trying to do the cheat and
Two.
with all this new event in 2027 in Michigan, right, you know. Yeah, and we're gonna do it, we've waited long enough and. And the fleet that we have is all 2000 to 2008, right? Yeah. Because that's when we dropped up really hard before all the emissions started.
Yeah, this is what we are doing, this is what we wanna do.
It's slow speed, you don't see how it doesn't feel like those guys are that old. 5 years old.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very good. Yeah, it's from. Usually. Phone ones,
Yeah.
because they've already went through all the problems.
Sure. Now, yeah.
You want to go get that?
Because I have these special. Look back in the both.
Yeah.
Gentlemen, we're gonna be starting the hearing now. That's why I don't. Yeah.
Good morning, thank you for joining us today. To be a part of this public hearing process. For those attending in person, we ask you that you keep your electronic devices silenced. If you're attending via Zoom, thank you for remaining muted until you're recognized during your public comment period. Staff will give a presentation and comment will follow. If you would like to speak during the public comment portion, please select the raise your hand button. The chair will call your names in the order they are received. Public comment will be limited to 3 minutes per person. We ask that you state your name and address prior to speaking. Again, thank you for being on this today.
Good morning, it is May 12th, 2026, it is 10:31. The purpose of this hearing is a bid open for the 2026 Hall of Justice parking lot rehab. Conway County is soliciting sealed bids for the contract to, number one, reconstruct 27,500 square feet of existing parking lot. Number two, remove 2,100 square feet of concrete walkway and pave back with hot mix asphalt. And number 3, construct 10,000 square feet of new parking lot, which is the alternate bid item. Project location is at the Conway County Hall of Justice, located at 229 South Garden Avenue. A non-mandatory project walkthrough is scheduled for 12 o'clock, May 5th, 2026. And this notice was published in the Newport Miner on April 29th, 2026.
Mike Kirkwood, Monterey County Purchasing Agent.
Ben Eggleston, Buildings and Grounds Supervisor.
Okay, and I'd just like to clarify for the record the way these bids are going to be read. So we have bid sheet number 1, which is for the main parking lot, the walkway work. And then we have bid sheet number 2, which is to construct an alternate parking lot. There's 2 different ways we ask that to be bid. One of them would be just to construct the parking lot with no asphalt. And the second way would be to construct the parking lot with asphalt. So I'll be reading bids from 2 different sheets. The first bid being open today from Apex Asphalt out of Deer Park, Washington. Apex did submit a bid bond. Bid total, bid form number 1, $157,735.27. Bid form number 2, item 1, which is the paved parking lot. Bid at $4.91 a square foot. Construct the parking lot with no pavement. $3.14 per square foot. Unsuitable excavation, $72 per cubic yard. Next bid, Versatile Industries Incorporated, Cusick, Washington. Bid bond was submitted. Bid form number 1 was not subtotaled. Tax and grand total was not calculated. So I'm just going to read those items to you, Crystal, one at a time, if that's okay.
Sure.
Okay. So Schedule A, main parking lot, $198,000. Schedule B, pathway, $10,710. Unsuitable excavation, $112. I'll need to do calculations on those to total that all down. Bid form number 2. Parking lot paved. And this bidder extended it all the way across, so $63,000 for paved. $49,000 for not paved.
Is there a breakdown per square yard?
Well, that'd be $4.90 or $6.30, just quick math in my head. $112 for unsuitable excavation. And again, that was Versatile Industries Incorporated. Next bid, Central Washington Asphalt. Bid bond is submitted. Bid form number 1. $230,203.37. Bid form number 2, these were extended in total crystal. Paved, $73,000 even. Not paved, $47,500 even. And unsuitable excavation, $245. So that'd be $7.30 and $4.75.
You don't want to talk about this.
Next bid. Interstate Concrete and Asphalt, Sandpoint. Yeah, the bid bond is submitted. Bid form number 1. $157,996.98. Bid form number 2. Paved. $50,300 even. Not paved. $33,400 even. Unsuitable excavation, $201. So $5.03 and $3.34.
$1,500 is that for square yard.
Which one?
Square foot, Robert.
Cubic yard unsuitable is.
Unsuitable cubic.
Yardage.
Yeah. Remember, our bid item was 1, just so we could establish a number on that. Next bid. Granite Construction Company, Yakima, Washington.
Munis number 5, Simcoe Development.
They might have got out of order. I'll hand Simcoe. I do Simcoe later.
Bid number 5, Simcoe Development Group, Haven, Idaho. Bid bond is submitted. Bid form number 1, $243,300.69. Bid form number 2, paved $69,400 $276.07. Not paved, $43,974.69. Unsuitable excavation, $125. I'll let you do the math on that one. Yeah. Number 6 bid. Granite Construction Company, Yakima, Washington. Bid bond is submitted. Bid form number 1. $358,773.
Say that number again, Rick.
358,773.09. Bid form number 2. Paved, $60,000 even. Not paved, $40,000 even. Unsuitable excavation, $140.
Yes.
Okay. Bid number 7. This will be the last one we're opening. Woods crushing and hauling, Sandpoint, Idaho. Bid bond is submitted. Bid form number 1. $593 even. It's 121,593.00. Bid form number 2, paved. $40,330.62. Not paved, $23,500.82. Unsuitable excavation, $43.
Commissioners, any questions? No. Okay. Okay, with Scott, is here, what's he have any comments? Nope. Hi. Aaron, we have Aaron here. Aaron, any comment? No comment. Okay. Via Zoom. Central Washington Asphalt, any comment? Mark, no, or unmute yourself if you do.
No comment.
Thank you. I have a John. John on Zoom, do you have any comment?
No comment.
Thank you. Stephanie, do you have any comment?
No comment.
Thank you. Jessica Garza, you have any comment for us this morning?
No comment.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, and Selkirk Sun, do you have any comment? Last call, Selkirk Sun, do you have any comment? Okay, and then I have a caller with the last digit of 4119. Do you have any public comment?
Isn't that you guys?
That's on the phone, yeah.
Okay,
Did you get first time?
yeah, but first time.